Hey guys, cooperCodes here, and today is the fourth day of the challenge. I was out a little later tonight, so some late night coding for me at least. 9:35. I'm probably going to be coding till like 11:30, or not a lot of coding today, but just going to continue taking notes. The usual. I'm at the beginning of a new chapter. The chapter is called Types, Values, and Variables. So if anything stands out, you guys already know the process. I'll be writing it down here. You can find this Google Doc if you join my Discord, and I can send it to you. Discord's in the description. Just really quickly, I'm going to go over what I wrote down yesterday. So, the values JavaScript supports, the objects, object syntax, how to get some properties and edit properties, arrays, array syntax, assigning elements to an array by index, right here. Arrays can hold objects and objects can hold arrays. So I just did, this is an array here with objects inside of it, and this is an object with arrays inside of it. And here is just some array indexing stuff here. If you are unfamiliar with array indexes and objects, this is kind of helpful, at least for me it was, to like see how you get very different numbers out of there. Just to go went over basic arithmetic. So this is all stuff that I can look back on and be like cool with and just know that it's good. And so if I ever have an issue, I have it all kind of like condensed here, so I don't have to go look online where it's like I can get like 100 different things and don't know which one to trust. So basic shorthand arithmetic operators. I didn't know how to do this yesterday, so that's cool. So it's num is equal to none times 10. That's cool. I like that. Those are cool. Basically qualities, operators, and comparisons. So yep, I learned about the comparison stuff. So I can use this as a cheat sheet when I need it. Some basic Boolean stuff, which I kind of already know from Java. It kind of works the same in both languages, just like true. This is the exclamation point thing is also in Java, where it inverts Boolean. So x is equal to 10. I did define x as 10 up here, so even though this is true, it returns it and it makes it false. So useful JavaScript codes. So this is just some code stuff. So this makes a space, this makes a tab, this makes a new line feed, as you see here. Pretty cool stuff. This is pretty valuable information, is how JavaScript interprets code and semicolon stuff. So making sure that my code is good, and just how there's more in the book about how it actually interprets it, and I wrote down the page number. So if I ever need more on that stuff, I can look back, but I think I did a pretty decent job of explaining this and how it works. So how to avoid certain errors. And then the two exceptions. Return true could be interpreted as return semicolon true, not as return true. So pretty interesting there. And then that's it for tonight. Alright, gonna delete that and get into the code myself here, or get into this new chapter, I mean. So yeah, just gonna keep on recording. I'm gonna switch to the voiceover now. Alright, so here we go. So pretty much overall everything is gonna be about types, values, and variables. Definitely more in depth than my previous programming. I talk about a lot of like specific cases that are unique to JavaScript, and I also just talk about some more generic stuff like the math object and all the possible numbers in JavaScript, and how JavaScript doesn't make a distinction between integers and floating point values. They're just all under the number. Yeah, it's infinity in JavaScript, so I did more like in-depth writing here, so I could just do like yeah, like paragraphs of stuff, because you kind of need paragraphs of stuff to explain it. So eventually I got a number large enough to where I could do infinity, and it wasn't showing negative infinity, so I was kind of confused. And I just changed the title to overflow, underflow, and division by 0 in JavaScript, because those are the actual things that made sense. So then I just did some examples, and then the division by zero cases are kind of strange. There's lots of exceptions. Pretty much what this is about is the exceptions that come with the number values, or just the different types in JavaScript. Then I did some coding on just what is cracking here. Returns none, returns negative infinity. Pretty much just basic stuff, all related to overflow, underflow, and division by zero. And if you're more interested in that, just feel free to read through the paragraphs. It's going a little fast now, so. But you can always get the Google Doc if you just go on Discord. So here was a strange thing it was talking about with not a number, or nan or whatever, not a number is like, yeah. And then another thing where I just talk about weird things, quirks of negative zero. So if you say 0 is equal to negative 0, it returns true. But in the video that's wrong. It should not be 1 divided by 0. It should be 1 divided by 0 is equal to 1 divided by 0. It says 1 minus 0. 1 divided by negative 0 is what it should be on the right there. Now I talk about the binary floating point numbers. This is actually really interesting. I didn't know about this, and this is like more an in-depth topic. How the fractions can only be like in binary or whatever, like the full binary things, for them to be perfectly exact, and any other number that's not like perfectly fitting into binary is just like a approximation that is like super precise, or actually I think precise is the wrong word, but super close to what the actual value is, but it's just a little bit off. So if you say like 0.1 is equal to 0.1, it will say you're wrong, so that's kind of weird. So I got a lot of stuff done today. So date syntax, check it out. Date objects got many different methods. I didn't want to write down all the methods. I knew if I had to do something with dates, I could look it up. And I do some string stuff next. Is what I end up naming it. I'm pretty sure. I think I had a break there where I was reading. If I ever stop, it's usually I have a break or I'm reading. var mighty strings cooper, cooperCodes, subscribe. In the latest editions of JavaScript, you're able to treat things similar to arrays, or treat strings similar to arrays. So I did not know about this. This is pretty interesting. Yes, so I think I was reading more into strings here. Then I just did some basic methods of string. Here you can see char at. It takes the 0 index and it finds character, which is t, substring 1 3. It goes from the first index to actually, how does it do that? I forget. I have to mess this substring some more. I still don't really understand it that well, but I have an example there to go off of, and I can always just mess around with it and see what works. There's some info on pattern matching, which is like all you know is it like involve like some weird syntax, like opening and closing like slashes and like capital letters. It was like an alien language, but I can always touch on that later. It seemed like a little ahead of me, but I feel like I could understand it eventually. So Boolean talk. So Boolean and null. I saw this type of code, the if, and then you only have the object in there, in a course I took this summer, and I didn't really understand it, but now I do understand it, so I feel like that's a positive thing. I'm just like understanding each like little small thing, and eventually if you understand all the small stuff, you understand the big stuff. So more on null and undefined if you were to type of operator on null. So yeah, like null is an object, while undefined represents like a deeper absence, and it's its own thing. It's undefined. So that's cool that I know about that, so I won't get confused if I ever have to do a type of and it shows up as object even though it's null. And then yeah, that's it for tonight. So yeah, I feel like I'm getting some work done. As you guys saw, that was a lot of notes, and yeah, and that was only like 15-20 pages in the book, so that's pretty crazy. And like these notes, I mean, I'm not taking an absurd amount of notes, but these notes are more like, I'm not trying to make all the text really condensed. I'm just trying to write the stuff down so I can kind of like understand it by trying to explain it, which is a good way to understand things. So yeah, if you enjoyed today's video, like, subscribe, whatever you want to do, and yeah, I'll be back tomorrow with another one. So yep, see ya.